Hello and welcome to this month's uh, Bunmi. My mind has gone blank.
Don't worry, I'm
What
here.
are we
I'll do it.
welcoming
I'll do it.
the
I got
people
you. I got you. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this month's Aerospace
to?
Chronicles
Yay, Aerospace Chronicles.
with Trina and myself. You know why it is we're not in the same room and we can't do that each other's energy. This is it. This is it.
Exactly. And apologies for the delay. We've both had both had a really full day. Apologies for the delay. Very important call that got extended. But it's a sign that great things are happening at the launch strategist and beyond. But we do apologize for the delay. It's quite full this neck of the woods, but it's really good full, and we're really charging ahead.
Yeah.
But we are here to talk to you about the latest news in aerospace, some juicy stories as ever. And so we're going to bring a few that jumped out to us. And also, if you have any questions, any thoughts, anything that's jumped out to you, please feel free to drop them in the comments. As ever, this is an opportunity for you to get a feel for who we are, what we do. We are the launch strategist, and we help organizations launch their next level of growth by improving their marketing effectiveness and their commercial capability so that they are more profitable and resistant to market forces. So that's what we do. That's who we are. I'm Katrina Douglas. This is Bunmi Durowoju. And let's get into it. So, Bunmi, I'll let you kick off this week.
I will. Although I will say, I'm looking at myself in the camera and I can see you can all see my rugby girl t-shirt today. I've got to give a plug. It's the Rugby World Cup. It's coming. It's coming. August the 22nd. Women's World Cup here in the UK. Plug in. If you're not looking up, look down on a rugby pitch and see some phenomenal rugby girls from all around the world who are here in the UK playing rugby. Anyway, I went to the side. I'm come back now. Trina, for my stories, we are going to the moon today.
Yeah.
There are some really interesting stories that are really highlighting the growth of some commercial moon travel and exploration that's in the pipeline for some pretty big heavyweight companies at the moment. So we're gonna go to the moon, and we're going to talk a little bit about investment side of this piece as well. So the
Yeah.
first thing I want to talk about, actually, I'll talk about them in two stories, is Firefly. Now, I don't know if anybody knows of this company. They were founded in 2014, so it's still young, but
Yeah.
in a sense, been through a number of changes, but it's essentially a company that deals with end-to-end space transportation.
Okay.
Small and medium, lift rockets, lunar landers, orbital propellants, and a bunch of servicing systems as well. I mean, I just love it. I just
Yeah.
love all the
Yeah.
descriptions of this thing. So Firefly are getting busy at the moment. So one of the things that they are doing is, and this is for those who have a bit of an investment uh, um, uh, strategy in their world as well. They are about to IPO. They have done a good series of financial raises at the moment, but there's an interesting one coming up, where and their ticker, by the way, for those who know about the tickers on the Nasdaq, they're going to be IPOing on the Nasdaq. Their ticker is Fly, which is very cool,
Okay.
and
Nice.
they're actually, it's very cool, and they're actually trying to raise about 643 million
Okay. Wow.
on that
Sizable
raise.
voice. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's based upon a valuation of 5.5 billion, and the proceeds are going to help with some debt and some growth fund and what have you. But again, we always talk about the value of this industry and the sort of
Yeah.
numbers
Yeah.
around it, and this is like a big player. And it going into IPO, for those who want a little piece of the action, not without going there, it's definitely worth thinking about. Staying with Firefly as well, they are entering into a contract with NASA, which is really
Okay.
interesting.
Interesting.
And again, They're working on what their core industry is. So
Yeah.
they're going to be looking at delivering some scientific payloads, which is going
Okay.
to be 2 rovers and 3 instruments, and they're going to be delivering these to the moon's south pole, hopefully,
Okay.
yeah, by 2029. Now they're going to be using one of their vehicles again, just so great.
Yeah.
It's the elite it's the ultra dark orbital
Okay.
vehicle and their moon ghost lunar lander, and those vehicles are going to be delivering these payloads onto the moon's south pole. How cool is that?
Wow. Wow. And
How cool is that?
there's been a lot of interest in the south pole of the moon, hasn't there?
Yes,
Um,
yes.
recently, that's kind of where everyone seems to be going.
Yeah. So we'll see what we're doing. Staying with the moon as
Hmm.
well.
Hmm.
Of course, we've got other people in the act as well. So we've got Fail, who are doing a collaboration with the Italian Space Agency. It's the first time we've talked about the Italians, right?
Yeah.
We've got a lot of international space agencies, but the Italians are in on the act too. And they are in a development moment, which is really
Okay.
interesting because they're developing a habitation module, and the habitation module will enable the first human lunar outpost. So I wonder if there's a whole connection with all of this. And
Hmm.
this lunar outpost is slated to launch around 2033, and they're in design at the moment.
Okay.
And that outpost is expected to last about 10 years. But I'm just
Okay.
thinking, right, that the timelines is always so
It's
fascinating, isn't it?
always so long. Yeah.
Right. And you just think, well, actually, by the time we get to 2033, I wonder if you've actually got some more technology that's actually going to make
Mm,
the lifespan a little bit more. So yeah, so we've got Fail doing that too.
okay.
So we're going to the moon, people. Um, c-
Excellent.
b- yeah, but I also want to talk about very quickly a safety bit of work that NetJets are doing,
Okay.
and because I think safety is constantly on people's minds, and NetJets, let me just find my piece, have launched a new proprietary piece of software called Flight Pulse. And
Okay.
the idea is to deliver real-time safety analytics to pilots
Hmm.
um, and crew, literally in flight as well.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
it's the first time that we're having this real-time set of capabilities. And we've talked about AI. We've talked about kind of like
Hmm.
the real robust AI that we've known and loved for many years. And this is the kind of thing, I won't call it AI, but the data analytics, the ability to get a bunch of data, loads of data, analyze it, deliver the results as quickly and as at the speed of light is really like the places where we're going to see some really big differences in space, and we're seeing that NetJets are bringing that to life now. So I'm going to
Excellent.
take a breath there.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Tate, for taking us to the moon and beyond. As ever, you tend to
Yeah,
cover more of the space-based stuff, and I tend to be more aviation. So, no, that's great. And I think it's just every time we do this, every time we're searching for stories, every time stories come across our path, it just reinforces the rate of growth in the industry, how commercial space is becoming, and how quickly for space anyway things are changing and developments are happening.
yeah.
So some
Yeah.
great things happening. Thank you so much, Bunmi. So
Trina, sorry, before you go, I know that I had a figure. Sorry, I'm sorry.
no,
Before we move
that's
on,
good.
that I did have a figure for NetJets, and I just wanted to share that again because we talk
Yeah.
about the impact of these things. The system, so that safety system that we talked about, which
Mhm.
is going to enable individual pilots to work on their risk management and the aircraft system. That in itself, once sorted out, will serve more than 4,400 NetJets pilots globally,
Wow.
and that makes NetJets the first private jet firm to use this level of real-time data-driven safety and
Wow.
intelligence.
Wow. The
So, like,
first
you know,
for
like,
me, I believe.
yes, yeah.
Wow, that's
And
incredible.
so it is incredible because, again, we always talk about the speed of change. Sometimes things are getting too slow in terms of what we've got in terms of capacity, but sometimes actually one bit can just have such a one-to-many impact. So yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely. No, that's great. That's great. And I'm just gonna uh bring us a little closer to earth with these next couple of stories.
So
I'm going to quickly touch on two, and then go into do a bit of a deep dive into something that I've seen cropping up in my conversations with component manufacturers, actually. So the first one is that um, airlines are cutting their US flights due to low demand. Now, this stems from the fact that, the Trump administration is making deportation a centerpiece, and a lot of people are kind of scared a little bit that they're going to be caught in that foray. And you're seeing a lot more flights to places like Thailand, whereas the US used to be, a real hot destination. Actually, Thailand, ironically, places like Thailand are taking up, picking up that increase in demand where it's dropping off in the US. But I really thought that was interesting. So a report from the research firm Tourism Economics predicts that the number of international visits to the US will fall by 15.2% by the time
wow,
the numbers for 2025 are calculated. And
wow.
so, although it's from a lot of European countries like Spain and Slovenia, um, where the demand has already dropped, the number of flights from these countries has already dropped by more than 20%. Amid the trade wars that we've spoken about,
Mm.
air travel from Canada also fell by 14% in April and 24.2% in May. So
These are
it's
big percentages.
significant,
A lot.
massive percentages. And so the impact on the US tourist economy is significant. So I did think that we would see a fall in tourism. I just didn't realize that we would see it this soon,
Yes.
and I didn't realize it would be these percentages. And although in kind of personal settings, I'm seeing more people more prefer to travel to Asia, the Balis, the Thailands, and places like that. It's interesting to see that it's actually an actual trend. So it's not just a perception, but
Mm,
there's actually statistics to back this up. So that's
mm,
interesting. It would be great to get people's thoughts, those that are watching this, those that are watching the replay on that. I know I used to travel to the US every year. My father's lived in the US for
mm,
a number of years, probably over 30 years. So I spent most summers and a lot of Christmases in the US. Even when my children were younger, we
mm,
traveled to the US a
mm,
lot. In recent years, not so much. It's kind of just
mm.
not on our radar. But you kind of think that's kind of a personal preference that's
Yeah.
just in your circle. But it's interesting to see that this is being reflected in the actual data. So are you guys traveling to the US? Do let us know in the chat. Like I said,
Yeah.
either live or in the replay. It will be great to know.
And
Link.
sorry, Katrina, and also you were saying about the deportation piece as well. Again,
Mm,
this we really do need to dig in, but I do know that there have been a few stories about, like you said, people being caught in the crosshairs. So
yes.
not necessarily going on illegal papers,
Mm,
absolutely illegal, absolutely legal, but
yes.
because it's actually got so complex out there and what have you, some people have been caught out and dealt with in a quite
A
interesting,
harsh way.
quite in a harsh
Yeah.
way by mistake, or it hasn't been right, or they just need to
Mhm.
do some verifications and what have you. And I don't know whether people have the appetite for that. I think if there was some certainty around, like, we're good, our papers are good, we're clean, and what have you, we can
Yeah.
guarantee that we'll be able to get from X to Y
Yeah.
destination
Yeah.
without a negative experience, then we're good. But I don't know if people have that confidence right now.
I don't think they do, to be honest. I don't think they do, and I think this is probably a consequence that the Trump administration maybe hadn't anticipated.
Yes, yeah,
So it's interesting to see it play out, and we'll continue
true.
to monitor that. The other one is the world's third largest budget airline, IndiGo, lands in the UK. It landed in the UK this month. And I don't know if you're familiar with Norse Airlines, those of you watching. It's really risen to prominence in the last couple of years. I think it was launched in 2023 or 2022. Don't quote me on
Mhm.
that. But it's one of a number of airlines that are capitalizing on this mid to long haul low cost.
Mhm.
So they're not like the mainstream airlines like your BAs, your Virgins, the Lufthansas, but neither are they as cheap as kind of the Ryanairs and the Wizzes, and they tend to do longer distances. Now, IndiGo is scheduled for to just to give you an illustration of how this segment of the commercial aviation space is growing. It has an order book, IndiGo, it has an order book of more than 900 planes, the fattest in the world, with one plane a week scheduled to be delivered until the end
Wow.
of the decade. So
Wow.
that is the scale of this carrier. And like I said, it's capitalizing on that kind of segment of the market, and it's launching its inaugural Manchester to Mumbai service. I think a couple of weeks ago it launched that, Manchester to Mumbai. And again, it's that thing about a lot of these profitable destinations are now like in Asia, East Asia,
Mhm.
and those types of destinations. I'm actually traveling on Norse early next year, so I'll let you guys know how it goes. My first time actually traveling on a long haul, low cost airline.
Wow.
So let's see. Let's see. We are absolutely one of those families that will pay minimum to get there so that we can have maximum enjoyment actually in the country. So I'll let you know if I will be doing it again.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Um,
this is gonna be great.
yeah, we've never done that. So yeah, I'll be able to give a first-hand review of Norse Airlines, but
You might have to
interesting.
download your movies on your tablet. I'm not gonna
Literally, 'cause yeah,
guarantee
you do, because
you
they don't have them. They don't have the in plane
in-flight
technology and those
entertainment.
sorts of things.
Yeah.
You have to buy your food and things like that. So let's see how I manage.
Yeah.
Um, but interesting to see that that segment of the market is growing in competition. I mean, an order book of 900 planes.
Yeah. And I'm
Incredible.
having a quick look at who their competitors are here now, and it's interesting because I've flown on AirAsia, so their competitors Scoot, I've not heard of
Okay,
Level
never heard
Play,
of them.
AirAsia, Eurowings.
Okay,
Euro,
yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
Eurowings is Discover and Flyness. Flyness.
Okay,
So I mean, it's an interesting group of competitors
it
um
is.
for Norse. And yeah, and then Indigo with an India focus, right? And
Yes.
it's
Yeah,
got
that's
this
the
India focus
inaugural
and it's
flight.
expanding overseas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. All right. Let's see.
So, the final thing I wanted to share with you, um, is the fact that I've been speaking to a number of people. Can you still see me on screen, Bumi?
Yep, yep, you're good.
Okay, wonderful. So I've spoken to a number of people on in the manufacturing component manufacturing segment of the aerospace market. And one thing that has come up a few times is that the biggest issue right now is the part availability, particularly within fasteners. So those are literally the nuts and bolts that keep parts of the plane together. There's this shortage. Now, blind rivets, which are specialist fasteners used to join parts of an aircraft when access to only one side of the structure is available, there is currently, in some instances, a 3-year lead time to certain standards. Now, it's absolutely wild. So I didn't realize the extent of this problem until I had spoken to some of the leaders in these component manufacturers. And so my first question was, why is this even happening? And there's a number of reasons. So post-demand pandemic surge. So, COVID, there was a decline in air travel, of course, and now we're seeing where demand is outstripping supply. So now that travel has gotten back to what it used to be, and aircraft production is at kind of similar rates, in some cases exceeding, there's this shortage that has occurred. There's also a manufacturing capacity constraints. So you need certain certifications to be able to produce these components. Only a limited amount of manufacturers have that certification. Also, a lot of manufacturers shut down their capacity during COVID, and they haven't been able to build it back up or scale it back up. There are a lot of closures, mergers and acquisitions, and also skilled labor. A lot of people in the aviation sector left. And so there's this shortage in skilled labor, raw material shortages with, Russia and Ukraine, various wars, and destabilization that has meant that there's literal material shortages and various things, supply chain disruptions, like I said, certification, various things has led to this issue. But what I wanted to get to is, okay, we're in this situation. What can component manufacturers actually do to overcome this? And I just wanted to give you briefly, I don't normally do this in these calls, but I just wanted to, on these lives, but I just wanted to provide a few examples and a few suggestions. If you are a component manufacturer and you are suffering as a result of this, what are some things that you can do? Now, the first thing is to think about strengthening supplier relationships. So think about strengthening those relationships with key fastener suppliers. I know it might be a bit late in the day, but it's never too late to foster those relationships. Look at vendor diversification. One thing that we see is that a lot of aerospace manufacturing companies, they stick to the same vendors, the same vendors. Diversify that. It's time to think outside of the box. Think about strategic partner acquisitions. We're seeing this increasingly, mergers and acquisitions, joint ventures, even if it's not a full-blown merger. Let's think about partnerships. And this is part of the work that we do, thinking strategically about commercial capability. How can you strengthen your position in the marketplace in the midst of problems like this? And these are things that we work on with clients. And so strengthen those relationships. Invest in vertical integration. So bring certain things in-house. Can you get certain certifications so that you can manufacture components in-house? I know that companies like Boeing are now looking at 3D printing to make these fasteners. So start thinking about new technology. So that's point number 2. So the first, for those of you taking notes, strengthen supplier relationships. Point 2, invest in vertical integration. Look into technologies like 3D printing, improve demand forecasting. And this is a big one. When we do strategic planning, it's that future forecasting and inventory management. Have buffers. I did speak to one fastener focused company, and they were absolutely fine because they have stockpiled. So now they've given themselves a real competitive advantage because they thought ahead. And this is what we want to help other companies do. Bunmi spoke about the increase in AI and AI and forecasting. So think about this. Yeah, think about these things. So that's number 3, improve demand forecasting and inventory management. And then I won't go into all of them due to time, but collaborate across the industry. So join forces, and instead of trying to solve these problems in isolation, collaborate. How can you solve these together? Shared tooling and logistics. Who in the industry does have parts? How can you collaborate? How can you join forces? There was more, but for the sake of time, I'm
Mm.
gonna leave it there. But
Yeah,
what I will do is probably do a post on this and go into more detail, because it's a real issue in the industry at
yeah.
the moment. And if you are facing this industry, this problem, yeah, do reach out, and yeah, maybe we can come up with ideas to help you kind of get past this crossroads.
And
So Bunmi, yes,
Katrina, just to, yeah, just to jump on that a little bit as well, because it's significant, because we had a conversation about this point that I'm going to make when
yeah,
the Heathrow fire happened.
yes,
When it wasn't the Heathrow fire, it was the electric
mm,
provider fire, the impact. That one of the other reasons, in addition to all of the ones that you said, was there had been a fire in February in a plant in
mm,
Philadelphia, and that plant provided something like 10% of all of these bolts
yes,
and stuff as well, and out of commission. But yet again, where is our we keep saying on our calls as well, like, what is your plan B? Are you
exactly,
relying on such a few sets of partnerships? Are you relying on one key man in your operation to be
exactly,
able to do anything? Are you relying on just one source to actually provide such a massive part of your operations? And although you may have been comfortable with that for many, many years, you really need to have your plan B. And that fire, which, force majeure, who knew
yeah,
what's
yeah,
happening, has impacted, in addition to all of those other things that you've said, people you would not have thought that it's going to happen. But really, what is your fail self? We're no longer comfortable in sitting around with like these massive, 6-7 year contracts based
yeah,
upon everything being going to be okay, right? And
exactly,
stuff. So, and we
exactly.
talked about it for Heathrow. It's come up again here now, and here we are.
Yeah,
But we have the
and it's
solutions. Some,
and yeah, and it's unfortunate, but let's learn from it.
yeah,
Let's absolutely learn from it and prepare for the future. So
yeah,
yes, that is it. That is it. We tried to shrink it down, and we kind of had, but it's still been longer than anticipated. So much to say, and we could have said so much more.
yeah,
But we'll be back with you next month. If you're not subscribed to the page, please do subscribe to the page so you can see the notification for the next date. Always great to have you here. Thank you to those of you that joined live. Thank you to those of you who will be catching the replay. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in the comment box. We always come back and review them. So,
yeah.
Bunmi, thank you as ever. And we will catch up soon, and we'll
We
see
will.
you all soon. Have a wonderful rest of the week. Bye
Take
bye.
care now.
Bye.